So come to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders. Lift the feet and just place them down. And then just lift and roll the shoulders. And then roll them forward. Freeing up the shoulders, to some extent the neck, not so much. As you're lifting and rolling, you're stretching across here, the heart and lung area. And then perhaps hands on the waist, but you don't have to, swirling the hips, just swirling the energy around. You can, if you want to, make a figure of 8 with the swirl, which just twists them a slightly different way. And you can swirl the other way. You can remember which way that is.
No, it's nice. So are you filming this?
Yes, I'm completely.
You look like you're in charge today, Lisa.
No, you just see.
You're the demonstrator.
The actual film is the iPad.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, you're all right.
It's all right, there's the occasional
My
elbow in it.
You can do it like this or like this.
Like the Wheel of Fortune, maybe.
Not very elegant, no. I'm sure I've said this before. I've had dancers, and formally trained dancers are very sylph-like and controlled, and they can't do this easily because they can't let go. They can't let it all hang out. It's just
Because they're used to being like
yes,
core strength.
strength, and they can't let it all wobble like
Oh, well,
a
that's
dancer.
good. Got something out of it.
And then just legs together, because we're going to just circle the knees in one direction. You can have your hands on the knees if you want to, and the other way. And then standing up and just lifting one heel and circling the ankle one way. And the other way. And then and then this is a balance, but again, a slightly different balance. I'm not good at this. So, lifting up and opening. Lifting up, much better than me. Lifting up, opening, lifting up, opening. So you're in your own time, your own breath pattern. We go slowly, which tests the balance even more, I suppose. And I know, what do you think about it? Don't you? Just
Well, yes, it's quite easy when you do it fast.
for your own breath time. And then come to make this next one, 2 last ones. And then just almost windmill up, and then the other arm. Bend your elbow if you're stiff in your shoulder. And then just drop your arms and come into the more familiar from side to side. And then come on to slow that down. And then this is also a balance, but not quite so stretching. It's a coordination movement. So lift a knee and lift a hand. And lift. I find this difficult too. Oh. Yeah, oh, good, I'm glad you're going.
Look at a thing on the wall or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's easy.
And then just begin to think about ending that. And then hands on the waist. We did this yesterday. So push to one side, draw the hand palm up. Push. Bending your knees as you go. So this is also the upper back, shoulder, bending your knees. And then think about coming to close with that side and bring your other hand to the waist and just change sides. And you can then do both hands. So you're almost like, I think as you said to yesterday, almost like doing a ball. And that's a mind thing, to get your mind coordinating with movement. And then just come to stillness. Lift and roll your shoulders. And for your shoulders, just open, hug, and come forward and just sway slightly from side to side. Remember which arm is on top because we're going to open out and come to the other side. And then open out, lift and roll the shoulders. Just tap or rub into that vitality point, which is where the collarbone ends. There's another acupressure point there, which is the lungs, but just anywhere that's sore around there, tap or rub, just to open up the energy. Is it you who said Lord George is doing this? Does this and that?
Oh yeah, it does a lot of tapping.
Yes. And
He's doing everything he's Lord of issue. Not that I've watched it, I've just happened to put it on a couple of times, and both times it was him with some sort of issue going on. So.
but he's a complete demon.
He's a Buddhist, isn't he? He's now
Oh, is
become Buddhist, so
oh,
I think he does all of his chanting and tapping
Yeah.
and well, he's had terrible addictions in his life,
Yeah.
hasn't he?
So he-
So it probably keeps him all
Oh yeah,
on
exactly.
the
Yes, I shouldn't criticise it. I just
right kind
I'm in a bit of pain.
of. But he is always having problems.
It's
It's self-obsessed.
It's quite funny.
love it. just I like him all his makeup. Of course, it's all unrecognisable without makeup. And then this is an Ayurvedic practice, a complete practice for the body, but every joint. So soften the knees as you raise the hands up. Quite familiar. Hands up. Keep your elbows bent if your shoulders are a little bit stiff. Over to one side. Come up, stretch up, over to the other side. Stretch up, slightly turn to look one way. Come back to the centre as you stretch up, turn to the other side. Come back to the centre, stretch up. Just lift your heels, test your balance this way. And then breathing out, lower your heels, lower your arms, lift and roll the shoulders, and then slide the hands down the legs to the shins. Press your hands into your shins, half lift. Breathing out, bend in. Breathing in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, rolling up vertebra by vertebra back to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders and just clasp your hands behind you. Opening the shoulders. Maybe bring your hands a little bit away from you, looking either ahead or slightly up, depending on where your neck is. And then just turn slightly to one side. Come to the centre and turn slightly to the other side. And come to the centre. And then release the hands. Just circle the wrists one way and then the other, and then just shake the hands out. And then feet hip width apart. You're flying. So starting at the bottom, your toes, your ankles, your knees are all getting movement. Your hips are slightly moving. As you bend your knees, your core is engaging subtly. Your arms up. You've got more ribs here. Your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. It's breath work because you're coordinating the movement with your breath, but we've been doing that anyway. And then just come to stillness. Just place your hands underneath your navel and take a couple of breaths. Maybe breathing out through your mouth, that's optional. And then just come to lift and roll your shoulders. And we'll take that again, but slightly different this time. So just raise both arms up and hold, let's just say your left wrist with your right hand. Just going over to one side, to the right. Come to the centre and your left hand holds your right wrist, going over to the other side. And then come to upright. And then just lower your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. Place your hands on your waist and turn to one side. Come to the centre and turn to the other side. And then come to the centre. Release the hands and just soften your knees, feet hip width apart. Come down as much as you're able to hold them behind your calves this time. And you can straighten your legs if you want to, or keep your knees bent. You're coming forward. Just check that your neck's relaxed by suffering back, perhaps moving your head sideways and then a yes and no. Just checking that nothing's being held in tension here. And then really soften your knees and slide your hands to the front as you use your hands as a support to roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Bring your hands to below your navel, and as you breathe in, lift your hands and just go over your body. You're going into your aura here. So yesterday we physically went up and down. This is a softer version. Lift and roll shoulders. And coming to the mat, we're just going to do again, look at balance. Not my forte. But bring one foot in front of the other. I can't do it unless I put my foot out sideways, I wobble too much. So, and then the other foot in front of the other. And then the other. And then just turn around, make your way back to the centre of the mat. You can have your arms out at the side if that helps with your balance. So an imaginary tightrope walker. And then just come back. And you'll notice that you engage your feet completely to the ground to support that weight, and that's what you're supposed to be doing all the time. So, how warm are you? Are you warmed up a little bit?
Middling now.
Middling. Okay. Do you want the heat up?
Boiling.
Oh,
No, I'm not.
go up the,
I've got
go up
two
the
layers on.
veranda.
I've got two layers on, I can take
Do a
them off.
Julia and go
I'm
up the
fine.
veranda.
Oh,
No, she's not. Nobody's on.
She
No,
does.
the door handle.
last time I was here, she had the bloody door open.
I know.
Oh, did you hear what happened?
Well, she pulled on the door. Obviously, the shoe blocked it, and then I noticed the handle was hanging off, and she bent the metal plate, let it come out, and I was so stressed. Anyway, Phil had a look. He hammered out the plate, but he said that she's weakened it, unfortunately. So what he did was to change the handles over.
What's she doing?
So it just
She's a bit bumpy.
yeah, all of that. So hands to, but she's very
Very
lovely.
sweet. It's just a bit, yeah.
She's paranoid about COVID.
Still.
Stay home.
Do it over the video.
Yeah, no, I've asked her whether she wants to do that, but she's got a son who's at Claremont, so he is bringing stuff home all the time.
Oh God, yeah.
I heard that Jack's school was closed.
Yeah, well, sweet. He never got sick. He had diarrhea and vomiting.
Oh,
School
that
they had to
was
close the boarding
nice.
school.
Oh
Yeah.
no, they want to come
So
home.
last Wednesday, it was like in the morning, it was like we've still got more teachers coming down. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're closing. So I had to drive and get him, and I had to bring home another boy whose mum's a deputy head at another girls' boarding school, and she couldn't have him. So that's why she
Where
boards
do
it.
you have to go to? Where's the school?
Henley on
Oh,
Thames.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's before.
To go over. So,
Oh God.
so I had them there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. George left Saturday. His name was George. It was so. George, don't
Soften your stretching up, looking forwards or up. Breathing out, bring the hands back down through the centre, soften the knees, slide the hands down, half lift. Breathing out, soften the knees. Press the feet down. I'm just going to do this a little bit more dynamically. Up, come through the centre, slide the hands down, breathing in, lengthen, this time we will do a full one, breathing out, softening, breathing in, lengthening, stay here as you breathe out, soften the knees. Up, join the thumbs and then just swaying tree, swaying palm tree. So this balances the Vata dosha in Ayurveda, and Vata dosha, when it's out of balance, is responsible uniquely for all pain in the body. So I think most people with Vata dosha tends to go out pretty quickly because it's air, and air is very light and movable, so it's the first element to kind of be disturbed, if that makes sense. Whereas the other elements are a little bit more solid. So then just releasing. Downward dog I know is not your favourite, but come to the top of the mat and you know the alternative if you hands together at the heart centre. Soften the knees. Arms up to where it's suitable, standing to look forward or up. Breathing out, just bring your hands through the centre. Slide them down the legs to the floor.
Step back or slide back with your right foot, stretch it, right knee on the ground. Left foot, stretching back. And then flatten your feet, bottom towards the heels and stretch it out the back. And then come to all fours kneeling, dipping the back, looking up, or if your neck's stiff along the floor, breathing out, rounding chin to chest. Breathing in, dipping the back. Rounding chin to chest, tuck the toes, tummy in towards the spine, tummy into a soft downward dog, lengthen the back, then begin to straighten the knees, but you don't have to straighten them. Walk the dog for a couple of breaths, bending one knee and then the other. And then when you're ready, you can walk your feet to your hands to your feet. You can stay there, so great pleasure if you'd like to. And then softening your knees, rolling up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Hands up, stretch up, hands down. Lift and roll shoulders, hands together at the heart centre, and we come to the left side. Soften the knees, stretch up. Come through the centre, soften the knees, sliding your hands down to the earth. Slide or step your left foot back, straighten it, left knee on the ground. Slide your right foot back, tabletop, breathing in, dipping the back. Breathing out, chin to chair. Breathing in, dipping the back. Breathing out, chin to chest, and just begin to bring your bottom towards your heels, stretching out the back. Taking in and an out breath. And then for threading the needle, take the right hand, palm upwards, and just slide the right hand to the left, resting on the right side of the head and the right shoulder. You can bring your left hand out to the edge of the mat. Taking in and out breath. This is really opening up the right shoulder. Tummy in to come back. Just sway your bottom from side to side. And then left palm up, come to place it through to the right, onto your left side of the head, left shoulder. Right hand can go out to the edge of the mat if you want. And then you just roll back onto hands and knees, all fours. And then tuck the toes, tummy in. Come into your downward dog as an option, if not, just perhaps stay in child. Walk the dog. You can have your feet wide and hip width apart. You can have your feet closer to your hands. Tummy in towards the spine. Even if it's 10 or 20% engagement, it engages the core slightly. And then soften the knees as you walk your feet to your hands to your feet. Really bend your knees to allow yourself to roll up. You can use your hands to support vertebra by vertebra to standing. And again, lift and roll the shoulders. Hands up. And then lower. Lift and roll the shoulders. This time, clasp behind your back. Open your shoulders, looking forward to up. But then bring your head to upright as you separate your hands and bending your knees, slide them down the backs of your legs, hands to the ground, sliding or stepping your right foot back, stretch out your right leg, right knee to the ground, and then sliding back your left leg. And then come into lie on your tummy. But come onto your elbows, Sphinx pose. Looking down at the
so that the back of your neck's long. Press your elbows into the ground and just pull yourself forward a little bit. This will stretch out at the hips and the lower back. And then come to line totally, stretching your arms out in front of you. You can tuck your toes under to extend one leg and then the other leg, both legs. Just to stretch out the hips. And then slide the hands back to your chest. Elbows are in, but up. Press down on your hands to come back to kneeling. And then come to puppy pose, bottom in the air, hands out in front of you. This will stretch the upper back. Bend your elbows if you need to. It's too much of a stretch. And then slide your hands towards you back to tabletop. Tuck your toes or stay in child's pose to rest. Just come to your downward dog. Find your comfortable dog, so that could be feet wider and closer to your hands. Subtly walk the dog, and you can sway your hips as you're walking. And then soften the knees as you walk your feet to your hands to your feet. Bend your knees and then roll up vertebra by vertebra once more to standing. And hands up. And then lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. Clasp them behind your hands again, opening up the shoulders. Separate your hands, bring your head to upright. Slide the fingers down backs and legs to the ground. To the left side this time as you step or slide your left foot back, your left knee to the ground. Right foot back, right knee to the ground. And just walk your hands slightly forward to come into a supported up dog, looking straight ahead. And then come back. Knees apart, big toes vaguely together, coming into a child's pose of your choice. So it can be arms out in front of you, or it can be classic child's pose where the hands are upright to the ceiling and you round your back more. And then again, perineum engaged, just like your tummy slightly in. As you come back to tabletop position, tuck your toes, come to your downward dog. And walking the dog, walk down your feet to your hands to your feet. Soften the knees and roll up to standing. Hands up and just circle your wrists down, and then clasp your hands and just go one way with your wrists and fingers and then the other way, and just shake your hands out, lift and roll your shoulders. Hands together, and we're going to come to kneeling upright and just checking on your right knees. I'm having my right foot out to the side. Just slide the right hand down, left hand over, drop at the elbow. Open outwards rather than coming downwards. You're not going to necessarily go very far. It's gate pose. Just take a breath or two here. Tummy in, perineum engages upright. As you come up, bend the right knee. And then we're going to come to the other side, so stepping out the left foot. The left foot can be down on the ground, it can actually be up. That's what it's supposed to be done. And then just slide the left hand down, opening out on the right side. Just raising the hand, you can drop at the elbow or stretch or to just come over. Just stretching out now the right side. Tummy in, perineum engages and coming up. Come back to leading. Then we're going to come to sitting. This is one of the poses of perfect hip health. So again, you must tell me if this isn't great for you. So double Z. Choose one side. I'm coming to my left side, it doesn't matter. And your legs are a double V. So is that agony? If it is, it's all right, good. If my right bottom cheek is slightly off the ground, it shouldn't be, and you can take a support on to wedge that if you want to. So just touching the hands to either side, and then turn to your left knee, tummy in, and just walk your hands forward over your left knee. You might come down to your elbows, you might come down a little bit further. Just take a couple of breaths forward. And then tummy in, slightly perineum engages as you press your hands down, walk them back. Hands to either side. Just use your hands to lean back, stretch your legs out, and just bounce them, rub them, tap your body, do whatever you want to do. And then we're going to come to the other side, which is double Z, knees to the right. One side will always be different from the other. Hands to either side of you. Sit up, tummy in, perineum gaze up slightly, turn to the right, and then walk your hands over to the right side. Come down as little or as much as you would like. Your left cheek is bound to lift a little bit as you come forward. And then tummy in, gaze perineum, press your hands down, look back, hands to either side, stretch your legs out. Just again bounce, rub, pat, whatever you need to do. And then just have your legs in a slight V, toes are up, just to feel that you're engaging on the inner part of the legs, which can often not be used. And then tummy in, lead with your chest and just slide your hands down. You might go a little bit, that's fine. You might go a bit further. You might slide down. Very much depends on your arm length. You might want to hold your big toes. Just very gently slide the hands up, bring the soles of the feet together. So now's the time you want any body part you want to think about, part you soothe about in every reflexology capacity. Any requests?
Requests. otherwise just use your thumbs to massage your soles.
What
Back,
about
shoulders,
your hips? Halfway down.
Hips are on the outside of your feet.
Oh.
So you have to go back to a V again to be able to, well I have to because I can't.
Yeah.
So hips are about 2/3 of the way down. There's all the joints, so the shoulders sort of below your
Oh, that's
toe.
that's stiff.
What your hips or your
Shoulders.
so you've got the shoulders and so you've got the hips sort of where the next big sort of ridge is on your foot. So it's about halfway down, just over halfway down. It varies with everyone. That's the hip. So that's the hip for the right foot.
It feels very solid.
Yes.
It's supposed to.
Well, yes. But you might. What's quite good to do if you've got more of a problem. And I've got a much more problem with my right hip than my left.
Yeah.
If you feel that, and then you change round.
Is
and
it right
feel
to right?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
And then you feel. You see, mine doesn't hurt as much, nearly as much on that side. So
Everything's on my right side.
it hurts so much more on my right hand side.
Yeah, on right side.
Yes. Is it if
In
your right hips?
here it hurts.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's your hip. That's
Yeah.
basically it's where your leg joins your pelvis. Yeah. So yes, the idea being if you sort of can manipulate that, that's the reflex point for that area. It helps sort of free up that channel in your body to allow the body to heal itself.
Actually, get Jelly Bean to lick you on that part or something. There's a trainer.
Oh dear.
It's very soothing.
Yeah, so just remember, all the
hurting.
joints. It's not hurting.
So it's soothing when it's not hurting so much.
Yes, I know.
Hurting,
It
fine.
depends how hard you do it, really. You don't want to necessarily do it
Once
too much.
overdo it.
But if you just think, if you try and remember, if you imagine that your below your little toe is your shoulder, so if you're working down the body, and then the next one down from your shoulder, obviously the next joint is your hip, then you've got your knee joint, and then your ankles right down at the bottom base of your heel. So if you just remember it like that. So what we used to do reflexology is actually sort of thumb walk all the way up and all the way down. So you're pressing your thumb in and pushing it up at the same time, which is really lovely when you've got long nails like me. And then you can do it down.
Along the bone.
Yeah, it's along the bone. It's right along the absolute outside edge of your foot. Yes, along here. So your shoulder joint goes under, because the shoulder comes in here, goes underneath and in the ball of your foot and around the top. So if you've got shoulder problems, this is what I do every night now for my shoulders. If you puncture your thumb and your next finger,
Yes. Oh, that's lovely.
yes, if you do it quite deeply into the little ball of your foot, which is underneath your little toe underneath.
Yes.
You can feel it, yeah. Mm. But also, if you've got stiffer shoulders on one side, it's interesting to do one side and then do the other, so you can tell the
I've
difference.
not done that before.
Yeah,
and
you
I
see,
just-
mine's quite tender there.
mine's very tender.
Whereas this side, I know it's not. It's not, because I haven't got a problem with this shoulder, it's absolutely fine. So, whether what you believe in reflexology is,
They both hurt.
they both all make
Well,
a
Christine knows I
stiffness.
have
Yes,
really
you've got
bad
stiffness
shoulders
on
both
both
sides.
sides, But if it's much more pronounced,
Super
such as mine,
painful, yes.
yes, you can
A
feel it.
sharp.
So it's quite nice to put, when you go to bed, it's just to put some cream on your feet and just
Yeah,
rub
massaging
your
it, yeah.
massage.
I-
And,
When people don't like, they have a leap of faith, how does it work? I think, well, if people understand that the brain sends a message to the foot to make it work, so there must be something running from the brain through to there. So if there is energy running from their brain to there, then you understand that there is energy routines running through the body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that the energy routine
Yeah.
from the head to here must go through other parts of the body, so there are other parts that you can access.
yeah, I mean, the reflexology is sometimes we used to have people when we were training, and they wouldn't tell you what was wrong with them.
Yes.
You had to be gentle. And 9 times out of 10, everybody picked up from the feed what was going on with
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, completely,
Yeah, completely.
absolutely, utterly kind of.
And I think, this
that.
ancient stuff goes back to the modern day thinking now with doctors that is it how much of your brain controls So all these placebos or people being told, yes, this will work, positive attitude, I mean, it all links in with that. If you really think it's going to work and help, then it, maybe it will.
Well, there's a brilliant book written by a Dutch doctor, and it's called We Are Our Brains,
Mm.
and it completely supports that theory that everything that happens to us, even to the point of children born with cystic fibrosis, to misalignments in the body, which then show up as pain later, is actually within the brain and the brain connections, which is quite interesting because then there's a yogic thought that says we are our brains, what we're between the ears, we are our brains, so, which is actually quite.
But if you think about it, painkiller cuts off the neural pathways in the brain to that part. So
Oh, okay,
that's
yes.
you know,
Yeah, if you're feeling pain. you
yes,
take
if you pain,
and it
a
cuts
painkiller,
off,
that's
yeah.
what it does. It's the neural
Yeah.
pathways in the brain too. So that's a step on from that, yeah. Anyway, reflexology, if you can always look up, if you look up online, they give you a map of the foot. So if you want to find out, you just do it roughly, not be very precise, it's hard unless you've trained in it, but just an area, if you get a problem with your stomach or your back or your hip or whatever, so look that up and then just have a few nights of just massaging that part of your foot. See if it helps, because that's all reflexology is.
Yeah, but it's so much more than.
Yes, I'm just saying it's at that base
Yes.
level really, you
Yes,
don't get too
based on
complicated about
at-home
it.
remedy.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we're just going to finish very, very lightly by lying on our backs. And just knees bent. Hug, let's say, the left knee in. You can straighten the right leg if you want to, and just rock from side to side. Roll over to the right, roll over to the left. So you're massaging your hips again. You're also massaging the back of your head. I think I find it easy with the legs slightly straightened, slightly long. Get a rhythm going, rolling onto the outer hips, top of the bottom, rolling along the back of the head. And then of course when you're ready you can switch legs, hug the right knee in, just let the left leg go, and then just roll from side to side. Just roll right over your both thing. You're also rolling on the back of the shoulder as well. And then come to a stillness. But for the inner thigh, feet together as we're doing is very good, but this is also quite good. So hug both knees into the chest. Just open the knees out so that they make a V slightly, and then just circle the knees. And that, as you go out, will target the inner as well as the outer thigh, inner thigh, the groin, and your hip. It's nice for the lower back too. So this is a dynamic one, because sometimes when you sit with your feet together and open your knees in Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, it can be quite straining, whereas this is a dynamic movement, so you're getting the movement, but it's not holding it or hurting quite so much. And then of course you've got the invitation to circle your knees in the opposite direction. And then just knees together, either rock from side to side or hug in and let them drift away. You choose, or you might like to do a combination. Just we're semi-resting while they're here. You can keep both knees together and circle them in almost like one unit.
trying to soothe your lower back. And then downward dog, although it doesn't look like it's actually an inversion, if you didn't do downward dog, just hold your hands under your thighs, clasp your hands, just raise your feet up and just sway slightly from side to side. So you get your little nod to inversion. And inversion is one of the movements for perfect back health. But it also is believed to regulate the hormonal or endocrine system. So you can have your legs up the wall or over a chair. And the hormonal system, the glands, are situated along the line of the chakra or energy points, which are on the spine, just in front of the spine. Just very gently hug your knees into your chest and enjoy rocking from side to side. And then supporting your legs underneath, place your feet on the ground, knees up, feet hip width apart. Just a couple of pelvic tilts, just moving your lower spine in the opposite direction. And finishing by breathing in, stepping the breath in, just breathing in a little bit more, up to the top, and breathing out all in one go through the mouth. Breathing in a little bit more top to the top, and then out in one go. Your time, a couple more times. It's like blowing a balloon up. It's something that the Royal Brompton Hospital uses for people who've got limited lung capacity, like COPD, because it's blowing the balloon up gradually and it's gradually increasing lung capacity, stretching the lungs from the inside. And then just let that go. And come to hug your knees in once more. We're going to come to finish the class by coming to a seated position in your own time. And we're going to do something with the eyes. So just rub your hands together. You're stimulating the nadis or electric points in the hands. When the hands are nice and warm, just place your warmed hands over your closed eyes. Open the eyes into the darkness of the hand. You're getting a lot of electrical pulse from your hands. And then just smooth your hands over your eyes, bringing yourself back to the room. It's called palming. It's very soothing for the eyes if they're tired or they've been stretched, or not stretched, they've been reading a lot or strained. Hands to the heart, and take a bow for yourself with their head.